Hello y'all, what is popping off? Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel if you're new here. No, hello y'all, what is popping off? Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. Today we are going to talk about nothing. Now when I say nothing, I mean nothing that is a certain topic. We're just going to talk about thoughts. We're going to get the ball rolling and all of that. So I had filmed a video, and it was about things I am afraid of or nightmares that I've had before. And when I filmed this video, I was like, dope. I'll just post it on or near Halloween because spooky season, am I right? With that being said, I filmed the entire video. And after I filmed the video, I realized, dang, I'm sad. And when I realize that I'm sad, I feel existential and I don't want to do anything. And when I don't want to do anything, I don't do anything productive other than what is mandated by me, by my lifestyle. Meaning that I will indeed still pay bills. I will indeed go to work. I will indeed do tasks that have been assigned that are a requirement for me to keep living this type of lifestyle that I'm living. Okay, so thank you for noticing my wrinkly t-shirt, number one. Number two, this is my big journal that I've been trying to use. It's bigger than my head. It's about 4 heads, I would say. As a unit of measurement, it's about 4 heads. Okay, so with that being said, and my sadness and how it didn't allow me to upload that video, and then I watched the video back, and I was like, okay, this is quality, authentic content made by me. After I made the content, I looked through the content, I proceeded to try to upload the content. By upload, I mean actually just send it over to my Mac so I could begin to edit it for you all, and for myself mostly. So I try to go edit it, or try to upload it to my MacBook, and once I've attempted to upload it to my MacBook, it says converting. And I sat there for 30 minutes and watched it convert, and then tell me it was not compatible. So it really shot me down, and I was like, okay, I guess I won't be doing this. I will downgrade my quality on my iPhone, because you can do that in your cameras in the settings on your iPhone, and then I will carry on with my life and try to film a different video. So this is me filming that different video. Let's talk about therapy. You know, you didn't think that you were going to be cornered in, but you are being cornered in. Trying to find a therapist. I want to talk about my past with therapy, my current standing with therapy, and where, like, what I'm looking for and stuff like that. Okay, so before we get into anything, what I'm holding this on right here is actually a small spoolie. Let's bring that up to the camera. It's a spoolie. How cute is that? I got this when I went into Sephora, and I always take spoolies when I'm in Sephora, like the ones that are by like the makeup remover and all that, just because, you know, they're good spoolies, and I know that I can reuse them because I wash them. Is that theft? I don't think it is, but also now I'm worried. It's okay. Okay, anyways, therapy, we're here. So first and foremost, I do have a past with therapy. I've mentioned it here on this channel before, and I have mentioned it in my life. So I grew up thinking that therapy was for folks who were rich. Number one, first point. And by rich, I don't mean like, hello, I am the 1%. I mean like folks that I viewed as rich because I was so poor. I saw it as like, oh, this is for someone who was in the middle class or upper middle class. And it was only for them because, you know, they had problems that weren't real problems, which was a very crappy way to look at things. And, now I don't view it as that. I view it as, if you can afford therapy, if you have that being accessible to you, I definitely think everyone should be part of therapy. Now, with that being said, roughly for the past, I would say 2 years, I have not gone to therapy, which I wholeheartedly regret. I think I should have never stopped therapy, and I should have found a way to stay within it. So I grew up thinking therapy wasn't for me because of my class. And I had that rhetoric all throughout my life that it was for folks who were weak, or they just couldn't handle what was going on. It was for folks that didn't actually have real problems, which I now know is incorrect. So when I was in college, my first quarter was not my best quarter. I was almost on academic probation. I got, I think, a 2.1 GPA. Shout out over here. I really bounced back during that time. I was a mathematics major, and I thought all of my life depended on being a mathematics major. And I graduated with a political science degree, and I'm very happy with my degree and my choices that I've made. So, it's not all about what major you go in as. It's about finding your passion along the way, if that's practical. I was on academic probation twice throughout my college career. Once when I was a first year, and once when I was a second year. I even failed 2 classes when I was taking my summer session classes, when there were only 2 classes that I was taking. It was a 5-week session. Highly don't recommend that. I'm so sorry. But yeah, it was very hard for me, and I realized, it isn't just that these classes were hard for me. I was sad. Really, really sad. And I didn't know what was kicking that slump, or what was kicking me while I was down and all of that. So I decided, okay, I need to go to therapy. And I knew the resources on my campus. I graduated from University of California, Irvine, and I knew that at bare minimum we had a counseling center, and that I could go get therapy there if that is something that I chose to do. At this point in time, full disclosure, I did have the UC-ship. So basically I had the University of California Irvine insurance. So because I was a student there, and it was easier for me to pay into that than try to find some other insurance, because insurance is something that was hard, and it's a whole long story. But anyways, I did have that insurance, so I knew that my insurance covered sessions. So with that being said, it was not an easy time to do that. I knew it was there. I talked with my best friend about it quite a few times, and it was always this is something that I need to do on my own. I need to feel strong to do this. I have to feel independent to do this. I felt as if I was having power taken away from me because I had to do this, because I still had this stigma in my mind, even though I was relearning all these things and knowing what I know now. I still felt some bit of shame that I had to go to therapy in the first place. So it took a lot of power in me to go there, to physically go to the location. It took me 3 times of going to the counseling center to actually schedule an appointment. So I physically went to the location of the counseling center and stood in line twice. And then once I got up to the front, I couldn't do it. So I left. And yeah, it was just a really hard time, because not only was it those 2 times where I went there and I didn't actually follow through with getting an appointment, but obviously those countless times and conversations that I have with my friends that I'm okay, I'm going to do it. I know this is right for me, so on and so forth. But yeah, the 3rd time was the charm. I actually stayed there and I got the appointment that I needed, or that I felt as if I needed. So the first appointment that you have is always an appointment that's the therapist getting to know you and seeing like, okay, like, who are you? Do I need to recommend you out to a different therapist? Is this something that we can like do within our sessions here? Do you need a specialist? Something else like that. So I had my first session, which is a longer session. It's about like 90 minutes. And I just talked about anything and everything because I didn't know what I needed to talk about. I didn't know like what exactly made me who I was or who I am today. I didn't know what to expect going into the appointment because I know that each therapist is so unique, and I didn't even know if I was going to like my therapist or if anything that they were telling me was going to feel productive. I had my first meeting, and it wasn't suddenly like, yes, I know I am going to be better because of this therapy. I was honestly still really scared. I was like, this didn't feel better. Like I don't feel better from this. So I really thought like, okay, maybe therapy just isn't for me, but also like, how am I supposed to judge it off of one try? Like, I haven't got to know this person. They haven't got to know me. They need more from me. How am I supposed to expect them to know me off of one go around? So I kept going back to therapy. I continued it for about 1.5 years. And I really think that there were points that it was incredibly hard to go. Before every single session, it felt like, why am I doing this? Like, I would get a sick feeling. I would feel sick before entering the room. I would feel sick in the waiting room when I was signing in, when I was taking a quiz that was like, okay, how are you doing? And it's like 40 different questions that ask you something along the lines of like, do you smoke? Do you smoke? Do you drink? Do you get angry at folks? Do you find yourself isolating yourself? Do you feel like you can be successful in school? Like a bunch of these questions that just really set me up for not the right headspace when I was going into the meetings. But I was also scared before I even walked into the room because I felt like I had to put my mind into something that I just didn't want to think about. You know, some people tackle their problems head on. Some people are very avoidant of their problems and all of that. And I think at the time, even though I was taking the step to like learn what was wrong or how I could fix like my temper issues or how I felt about myself, I still wanted to avoid it because thinking too much about it, I felt like would cause me to spiral. And I will say that in the beginning of every meeting, it didn't get better. That sounds so bad, but I promise I do feel like I benefited from therapy, but I still got nervous before every one of my meetings because I knew I had to think harder and deeper than I had before about what caused me to be this way or what allowed me to grow up the way that I did. Anyways, it lasted about 1.5 years. By the end of my time doing therapy, basically what I was feeling is we initially had a session every single week. So we had one session a week and I felt good about those sessions. And then we went to a session every other week. And then after a session every other week, once I felt good and I felt like I had the coping mechanisms that allowed me to not go into a negative headspace or not do what I was doing before, that's when we spaced them out even more. So we would do it once every 3 weeks or even once every 4 weeks. So I just kept spreading out my appointments until the point where I felt like I had maxed out the level that I was growing. But yeah, like I had maxed out how much or what capacity I had at that moment in order to learn from my past. So I knew I had all these coping mechanisms. I just wanted to be able to feel like I could apply them all properly before introducing new things into my life. So that's basically why I stopped going to therapy at that point. I think retroactively I could have, pushed a little bit harder and really just like put a little bit more into it, maybe spaced out my therapy sessions a little bit more, because I did have times where I think I really needed a therapy session. I really needed to talk out some of the thoughts that I was having, or some of the things that I was noticing about myself that I didn't necessarily love. And also, it's really hard it felt really hard when I was doing therapy, and even more so now when I'm not in therapy, that what I started to do is write down a list of my vices. So a list of things that I just think like, okay, Holly, it's not the best for you to do that. Why are you doing this? So I know that these are like negative things that I have in my life. But also at the same time, like, I don't know if I'm being too self-critical and these things are warranted. Really loved my therapist though. I gotta say that I was incredibly lucky to find a therapist that I enjoyed on my first go around. I know that is definitely not like the case for some folks. I have friends who it took them 3 therapists to get to the one that they felt comfortable with. It took them 4 therapists. It took them 7 therapists. It can take you a long time to find the therapist that meets your needs and also is compatible with the type of like advice that they're going to give you, or the type of treatment that they're going to give you. There are therapists out there that just are not specialized in what you have going on, and you deserve someone who is specialized in what you have going on. So let's take that to what I'm currently looking at for therapy. So I don't have what I had before. I already graduated from college, so I no longer can go to therapy at the UCI Counseling Center. What I did is I looked online. So I first looked online and I just typed in Irvine therapists, because I didn't know where to start at all. And I was like, okay, Irvine therapists, let's look. And like the first thing that popped up was BetterHelp, which it's like an online therapy service. But the thing is, I'm very much so a person who loves to talk, and I love to talk in person because it definitely lets me get out my thoughts much better than through text. Like, I wish I was an eloquent writer, but in my writing a lot, I think a lot more about, okay, is this grammatically sound, more so than, okay, is this actually conveying the message that I want it to? When, we're all fine and dandy to like think about grammar at some points, but this is like not where I feel as if I need to. Because it needs to be more about, okay, this is how I feel, and how I don't want to anymore. I went online and I found this service called Advocate. It's Advocate. Basically, you just take a little quiz and it tells you like, okay, what do you want to work on? The location that you're at, things like that. Ask you like how much money you're willing to spend. Do you have insurance? Stuff like that. And then you get matched with therapists. So basically you get 3 therapists that you're matched to, and you have the option of sending a message to them. So basically what I have done right now is I did that. Of the 3 therapists that they matched me with, I found that 2 of them were probably someone that I would connect with. I have gotten 1 response and I'm waiting for another response to see if I would be suited for them. So I have a phone call coming up this coming Monday for me to see like if I would be a good match for them, because like I said, I was incredibly lucky my first time in therapy getting someone that connected with me. And I think something that's going to be much different this time is that obviously I don't have health insurance. And then number 2, like I have to kind of retell my whole journey to this therapist. I think that something that's going to be really important is the fact that this time I kind of know what things I want to work on. Like, I've had time off. I have the skills that I was given the last time through therapy. So I know what I want to work on. Like, for example, some things that I want to work on is something that I didn't focus on a lot, or as much as I wish, were body issues. So not just body dysmorphia, but body dysphoria. So I was still figuring out my gender identity last time that I was in therapy, and this is going to be very different now that I know how I identify as a non-binary individual. And so I think that's something that I'm definitely going to want to work on and see where I can like find support for that. In addition to that, I want to go over like family trauma and understanding how my family's dynamics now play into how I treat the relationships that I have, romantic or non-romantic relationships in my life. Just because I think that whether or not we realize that our family influences us so much and who you become, I definitely want to become someone who can recognize my faults, but also not to an enormous degree where it becomes something that feels debilitating and won't let me get up in the mornings or won't let me do things that I would know I feel so passionate to do. Like, for example, I know that I want to post YouTube videos and I want to put out genuine content that makes me feel good, it makes others feel good. It just like can make someone laugh, it can make someone feel connected to. But also at the same time, I can get so in my head about this that I know I don't want to post something because what I would hear is like, Holly, people don't care about your story, don't put that out there. And I know to tell myself verbally out loud, Holly, people care about you. But it's not always so easy to just brush off those thoughts, and I need to find different ways to fix that. So this is my journey. I think that I'll probably be updating y'all when I actually get a therapist. Hopefully I can get responses from both of the two individuals that I messaged, see if I can actually start going, if it's a financially viable option, and just continue a lot of growth, since I think that I have a much better idea now of what I want from therapy and what I can get from therapy, rather than going in not knowing a damn thing about it. I hope you enjoyed me rambling today. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate your presence. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, share, do whatever the heck you want with it. I appreciate you and have a wonderful day. Bye. Indai oop.